You
didn't say not to swear.
Yeah, you did go. If you don't say it, I'm gonna drop. No, I'm not. I specifically want. No.
Right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 30th of October 2024 meeting of the Environment and Services Committee. We've got an awful lot on the agenda tonight, so we'll get going straight away. And thank you to the members of the public that are in attendance this evening as well. So, first up, apologies for absence.
We have apologies from Councillor Northern and also from Councillor Hope, who was substituted by Councillor Barry.
Very much. Who needs to vote?
Just to approve the apology.
Okay, so all those in favour of approving the apologies?
You know,
Have we been pre-notified?
we haven't.
Okay. If anyone thinks at any point, please just let the appropriate side. Hopefully members have had a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting, cast their eye over them. Would anyone like to raise any concerns regarding the minutes of the last meeting, which took place on the 18th of September? No. All happy? Okay. Yeah, we have a show of hands. All those in favour of accepting the minutes from the 18th of September as a true and accurate record.
1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Anyone against? Any abstention?
2.
Thank you very much. Right, at this point, I am missing the vice chair. So I would like to propose this evening Helen Top for vice chair. I've had a little chat with her ahead of the meeting.
that, yes.
I would like to second that.
Brilliant. So I'll propose that in a second. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? All those in favour? Come and join us at the front. Thank you very much. Do you want to ask a question about it? My screen. We've got animals.
Would you like my copy of your question and then you can hand it back? Well, promise not to read the response.
Okay, we've got one councillor question this evening from Councillor Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can officers give a brief report on the progress of the refurbishment of the Cove Street toilet? Has the project been straightforward and what is the completion date? Can assurances also be given for that plans for next year's refurbishment of Maiden Street toilets are already being worked on? Maiden Street will be a particularly challenging project. It would be a shame not to deliver one refurbished toilet a year because of timings.
Yes, we're going to have a response from the town clerk.
Thank you, Chair. So the refurbishment is continuing to plan. There have been some slight delays for a few days as the council was advised that we needed to fit an RSJ reinforced steel joist, maybe, something to support the work that was being done. We weren't aware that needed to happen, but this needed to be installed where the metal roller shutter is being fitted. The building work is continuing. The electrician has been on site getting the building ready for the new lighting and the new ventilation system. The tiler has started. They are on site now and are preparing the walls and hopefully will start tiling in the next few days. Work should be finished the first week in December, and then the external doors and contactless machines will be installed. There is no firm end date as of yet, but the work should be completed ready for the Christmas school holidays. Once those works are completed, the focus will shift to preparing an options plan for Maiden Street. That plan will then be brought back to the Environment and Services Committee for progression and for councillor decision. But please do be assured, Councillor Todd, that work is already started looking at that so that we're in a good place to get that options paper to you as soon as possible.
Is that okay? Or
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, on to item 6 then. Public questions. We've had one pre-submitted from Dave Taylor of Weymouth and Portland Marine Litter Project. Would you like to come and join us? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Right, tonight's question is, in January 2022, Weymouth Town Council adopted a single-use plastic policy, which is nearly 3 years ago now. The document states, in addition to an action plan, Weymouth Town Council will introduce single-use plastic restrictions in external events taking place across Weymouth Town Council sites. However, we personally witnessed in 2024 dozens of single-use plastic water bottles being given out to participants of the Armed Forces Day, which was run by the council, many of which we ended up litter picking in the car park ourselves. We've also had several continental markets on the promenade, which had vendors using single-use plastic glasses for lemonade and other cold drinks, many of which ended up on the beach. The advertising for vendors for the bottle states traders are encouraged not to use single-use plastics. Encouraged how exactly? We don't encourage dog walkers not to use the beach in the summer. We simply say no, because it's not wanted. Why can't we just tell people no? We're in a climate change emergency and our oceans are drowning in plastic. The council will today be debating a response to the proposal of an incinerator that burns primarily single-use plastics and will no doubt be concerned at its carbon emissions from burning plastic. There are many things affecting climate change and plastic pollution outside the council's control. The use of single-use plastics on council property is not one of those things. Our question tonight is, when will the council set an example and act on single-use plastic policy adopted? We still have council cafes on the promenade using single-use plastic glasses nearly 3 years after the policy was adopted. Box ticking and virtue signalling will not make Weymouth the green destination it purports to be. We would like to suggest that the committee amends the events policy to include a ban on single-use plastics such as straws, glasses, balloons at all events in council land. Let the council lead by example and set a clear and unambiguous message that single-use plastics are not needed and not wanted on our land. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and so thank you for all the work you do in our community as well.
No problem.
Okay, can I have a response from the town clerk?
Thank you, Chair. So thank you for raising this matter and for giving us the opportunity to scrutinise our practices and look for opportunities where we can improve. The use of bottled water during the Armed Forces weekend is primarily driven by health and safety considerations. Due to the age of a number of the participants and varying weather conditions, it is vital that water is provided to participants in a manner that allows them to sit wherever needed along the parade route. Using cups or cans would not facilitate this, as it wouldn't be practical for participants to access rehydration throughout the events. To address the litter concerns, the council will now have staff members equipped with litter picking tools at the end of the parade route and around the pavilion car park to manage any waste generated during the event, and any single-use plastics gathered will be properly recycled using council facilities. The same measures will be undertaken during Remembrance Sunday. Bottles that are collected will then be put in the appropriate recycling bin to ensure it doesn't add to the general waste. Regarding vendor advertising for the bonfire night event, the phrasing of encourage not to use single-use plastics will now be amended to clearly state no single-use plastics, and this will apply to all vendors. Additionally, the council will implement a strict policy for future events, requiring vendors to sign terms and conditions prohibiting the use of single-use plastics. And if any vendor is found to be selling such items, we will ask them to leave and we won't use them again without further reassurances that they intend to comply with our policy. The council has established terms and conditions for every event held on council land. For parks, the licensee or the leasee is required to comply with our existing balloon and sky lantern release policy, which was adopted in 2020, which prohibits the release of balloons and sky lanterns from any land and assets under the ownership and or managed by the town council. This will be amended to state that all single-use plastics, along with balloons and other similar items, will be prohibited and echoed across all of our terms and conditions for vendors and any other licensees or leasees. The use of single-use plastics will be continuously monitored and addressed in both the events policy and the terms and conditions used for events. The cups in council cafes that have been referred to in the question are made of recyclable materials. And I'd just like to give my thanks to the members of the resort team who helped to draft that response to my chair.
Thank you. Have you got any follow-up questions?
No, thank you very much. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, and thanks. Okay, item 7, Portland Waste Incinerator. Obviously, fast-moving situation with updates occurring today. And if anyone's been keeping an eye on announcements about legal proceedings, And I hand over to the town clerk to introduce the item.
Thank you, Chair. This was added to the agenda at the request of councillors who wanted the opportunity to look at what further measures the town council could take. That's obviously quite limited. Planning permission was refused. It was then appealed against. As you're all aware, it went to the Secretary of State for decision. And on the 16th of September, we heard that the planning permission had been granted. You will also be aware that as well as planning permission, the incinerator will require a permit from the Environment Agency. That draft permit has been consulted on, and the Environment Agency are minded to grant that permit, and we await the outcomes of the consultation and their final determination. Councillors will be aware of the information from Dorset Council surrounding the likely success of any challenge through the court's judicial review, and you may also be aware through communications and the website, social media, of the action by Stop Portland Waste Incinerator, who I think it was today announced that their legal action is going forward. There is no route available to overturn the Planning Commission decision short of legal action, and there is no route at this stage to challenge the Environment Agency if they still haven't finally determined. If they determine that they're going to grant the permit, again, only legal action can stop that. So you may be aware of the letter sent from the leader of Dorset Council, Councillor Nick Ireland, to the Secretary of State, further impressing the disappointment, I think is probably too lean a term to use, but the incredible disappointment and concern this decision and the impending decision from the Environment Agency have caused local people. The officer recommendation in front of you is to agree that I will draft a letter for the Mayor, the Leader and the Chair of the Environment and Services Committee to send to the Government and the Environment Agency, and that letter would cover restating the Council's objections to the incinerator, outlining the reasons for those objections, and asking for the decisions to be revisited after the Government have determined their position on incinerator. Happy to respond to any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for that introduction. There's a lot of detail in the report about sort of sequence of events that led us up to this point. Hopefully members have had a chance to read those, and also many of you have been involved throughout the process. Is there anyone that would like to make any points to this item? That's right, Chris.
Yeah, I'd like us to go a little further and recommend that we suggest the national government imposes a moratorium on all municipal waste until development, under development. Such issues are: what is the national need? What are the health risks? What is the path of compliance to the WHO health recommendations? And more locally, the risk that overcapacity will result in important in the area. I'd like to develop those thoughts in a minute. You may or may not know the Interdepartmental Risk Assessment of the UK government guidance notes are the precautionary principle should be applied when there is good reason to believe that harmful effects may occur to human, animal, or plant health or to the environment, and the level of scientific uncertainty about the consequences or likelihoods is such that the risk cannot be assessed without sufficient confidence to inform decision making. I'd like to go on and explain why I think that applies in this case. I think there are a number of concerns about municipal waste incinerators, and I'll pick one as an example. And that is that there's been progress in the last few years. And there's now increasing concern about PM25, the particles that are less than 245 micrometers. They enter the human body and they accumulate in the human body. And as a result of the increasing concern, WHO has raised its annual limit to 5 micrograms per litre fuel per air. Most recent values in the UK are 7.35 in urban areas and 7.92 in next to roads. And in fact, the range values around Weymouth are above the WHO limits already. So, I think when the power fuel proposal was looked at by the they looked at short-term, near-terminal risks, near-natal risks to babies being born, but they didn't look at the long-term chronic effects of PM25 and other pollutants. And I think that's important. I'll come to my last point in a second. There is a genuine widespread scientific literature to show that municipal incinerators are a major cause of PM2.5 in the atmosphere. And I think my notice was after the Environment Agency appeal closed on the 20th of October, it was announced that the Internationally Important Crick Institute, which is the MRC's unit in the UK, is looking into a study to establish the causal link between PM2.5 and neurodegeneration. They've already established that the risk between PM25 and cancers for people who do not smoke. So they state that is environmental risk for a number of diseases, including cancer, heart disease, neurodegenerative conditions such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, and they've already set out for non-smokers. So I think there's a real concern that only came obvious after it was at the time this new grant by the MRC after the Environment Agency's extension closed. And I think it's possible.
Thank you very, very much for that. And can I ask you to email that across to the town clerk and also to Nicky as well? Are you making an amendment?
Yes, I would like to add that that we asked for a moratorium. I think the advantage of that is that we could get cross-boundary support in Westminster for this because there are other MPs in other constituencies.
How would
The
you like,
idea of a moratorium is to get parliamentary support from a lot of MPs.
can you suggest a nice ending for our
We've got
recommendation?
our moratorium and any future decisions on incinerators until the government
Can show that. Yeah. Because they don't emit.
It's absolutely no risk.
can consider the risk,
Yeah, or they can
consider new
consider
methods.
the proportionate principle as required by the ILGA. Something like that.
Consider the precautionary principle, sorry, my typing.
I don't know what I say.
Consider the precautionary principles as required by the ILGA.
ILGRA, which is
GRA.
the Intergovernmental Liaison Group on Risk Assessment.
Catchy. So we've got.
If that is, if. Yeah, so the original text in black was an officer recommendation, so it's not a proposal, so somebody proposed it. So someone can propose all of that.
Yeah.
And then it's open if anybody else wishes to amend or add anything additionally.
Okay, are you proposing that as?
Yes, that's
Before you propose it, does that need to be has instead of can? Has considered? Or can show it has considered?
Has considered does read that.
Considered, but
That's it. Perfect, so that's what you want to propose.
I think in regard to health risk. In regard to health risk as required by the LGA.
Is there anyone that is happy to second the recommendations as currently written? Julie? Is there anyone that would like to speak to?
No, I just think we debated the incinerator, and I think this council's position is well known on it, and we need to send a strong message.
Councillor Tosh.
I would like just an amendment to the officer recommendation, and that is that we support the dramatic post against incineration with a sum of money. Because though Dorset Council has declined to do that, and they probably feel with good reason, they represent the whole of Dorset, but we as a town council represent our residents who are in a majority against this incinerator, and I think if we can help, we should. And I would like to propose that we put £2,000 towards their fund.
Can I ask a question, Chair? What would the money do?
It's for them to make a legal claim against them.
So we can't afford to make a legal claim on our own, but we.
They've been collecting, they're collecting money. I think they're 6,500 short of the target figure they need in order to go. They've started the process, but they still need more money to come in to
Do you happen
complete
to know how much they need altogether?
Remaining.
it. Remaining, but they don't know
It's
how.
40 to start. 40, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's in the region of 40,000.
Yes. So they've collected a lot already, but it would be nice if we received, I think if we received, we have the.
So, thank you, councillor Toft, and councillor Toft actually pre-notified me of the amendment she was proposing. So we have put some words together earlier if the amendment was made, which I believe the town clerk has just put it up on the screen now. So it currently reads that the Environment and Services Committee agreed to fund £2,000 to the Stopway Port and Waste Incinerator Group, the legal challenge to the incinerator. Town clerk to determine the funds from the existing budget. If no existing budget can accommodate the expenditure, the committee recommends the matter to Finance and Governance for determination. Are you happy with the wording? Is there anyone that's happy to second? Is there anyone that's happy to second that? Councillor Bowen?
Technically, there's only one amendment, and that's the proposal, and then in blue, it's the amendment to that. If
Yeah,
councillor,
happy.
then if you have a proposal in a second.
Yep.
And just for clarity, Chair, I have spoken to Ian Mill, the RFO for the council, and we just need to check a couple of figures, but we feel that this can be met out of our existing legal expenses.
So,
However, it's good just to have that caveat, so there is a stopgap position, should be the case.
just for clarity, then we've got councillor Atkinson, I believe, proposing all of the above. And I think councillor O'Leary at the initial, councillor O'Leary seconded. Thank you for everyone's contributions on a massively important topic. Right, all those in favour? Yeah, so it's can, yeah.
We will contact our the members of Stockport and Waste tomorrow to inform them and to once we have the comment, please do feel free, unless there are any members with us tonight, to
Fantastic. Thank you very much, committee. Okay, on to item 8, which is going to be introduced by Charlotte Lidgley Ryan. This relates to the free parking dates for December.
Thank you, Chair. This report presents the proposed date for Weymouth's designated free parking day in December, following no December submissions in the initial survey. It recommends Monday, the 23rd of December, aiming to boost local business activity by enabling families and last-minute shoppers to visit just before Christmas.
Thank you very much. I will start things off here. I think the report explains very well why it's been selected, why it's been put forward, and sort of timeframes that these decisions have to be made in. And therefore, I'm happy to propose the selected date of Monday, the 23rd December, the allocated free parking date. Is there anyone that's happy to second that? Happy to second that. Mr. Thomas Taylor. Anyone that would like to discuss the item?
Yeah, just very briefly, it says on the report, Weymouth Town Council officers have been liaised with We Are Weymouth, Weymouth Bid. Did you also speak to the Chamber of Commerce?
No.
No. Could that be something potentially done in future, as that is a, valuable voice of business in the town? That's right.
Thank you very much. Anyone else want to discuss this before we go to the vote? Okay, all those in favour? All those against? And any abstentions?
with very good.
So that is carried. Okay. Charles, there you are. So item 9, again, Charlotte literally Ryan introducing this. This is the event policy review. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you, Chair. This report recommends that the Environment and Services Committee adopt the updated Weymouth Town Council events policy. Unlike the previous policy, this version does not currently include a green events guide as an annex. Approval of this policy now will facilitate the 2025 event season and bookings have already begun. For background, some members may be familiar with the existing green events guide, but others may not. The intention is to bring the guide to the Climate and Ecological Emergency Working Group for review and updates, making it a practical set of criteria for officers to work to. Following this, the revised guide will be presented at the future Environment and Services Committee meeting for adoption. Do I have any questions?
Thank you very much. Would any councillors like any input? Right, yeah, in which case I'm happy to propose the recommendation as written, the event policy. Is anyone happy to second it this stage? Councillor O'Leary? Any further discussion from any of the members of the committee? In which case we'll move to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you very much. That is passed. Okay, moving on. Thank you very much, Charlotte, for both of those. Okay, item 10, Parks and Open Spaces Strategy. And I believe we've got Paul Bird introducing this one this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Evening, everybody. The report provides councillors with a 6-month update on the Parks and Open Spaces, now Green Spaces Strategy 2022 to 2032. It highlights progress in achieving key aims at this stage, identifies areas where significant success has been achieved. The strategy serves as a framework for managing and developing Weymouth's parks and open spaces, aiming to protect and enhance public green spaces, promote community engagement and support environmental sustainability.
Thank you very much, Paul. Are there any councillors that would like to come in on this item? Councillor Atkinson.
I wonder whether the opportunity within this strategy going forward to look into the issue of trees. I noticed in one report we've found here. I think that's rather short of what Weymouth probably need. Let me give you some figures from the Woodland Trust county cover studies. Morecambe Regis ranks the next lowest in Dorset in terms of tree cover. White Regis is pretty better, 2 better, and Livermore is only a little better. The tree cover in those 3 wards is 1 to 6, 1% roughly 6 of the. In contrast, Weatherpole is 35th and has ranked 36%, which is what the target is. So I would like to see some effort over the next many years with external funding. I appreciate to try and get more trees planted in parts of Weymouth. I realise in some places, like the centre of town, it would be a very difficult ask to get a very high percentage, but I think we should try harder because there are many areas around where our tree score is good.
Thank you very much.
And the map is Tree Equities Store UK map.
What would you like to?
Just to say that the tree management policy is currently in place, expires next year, so is currently due for review. So it's something we will be looking at going forward anyway, so we can have that to the thinking.
I believe we're about to plant an awful lot of trees at Radipole Park as well.
It's one of the areas that we've got a lot to do.
I believe there's more going along the hedge line where a driver removes, so we're getting some trees back in that space soon. Thank you very much. That's really.
Yeah, does this policy include play parks? Yeah, there doesn't seem to be an awful lot of mention in regards to play parks in general. Obviously, we have a number in my ward, and we have obviously a very large play park at the top, which has had some issues raised with it due to me and Councillor Hayes went and inspected it. As part of this, can also include things, I know it's getting away from the nature aspect of it, but just in basically like painting and regular cleaning of play parks. I mean, they do get grimy, they do get used. very often and therefore do need regular maintenance. And I know they're meant to be checked once a week, I believe they're visually checked.
Visual checks. once a
Yeah,
week and-
which is for safety, but I
Monthly.
yes, I mean, I often find when I'm checking something, if I'm checking something on a regular basis, I miss certain things I'm used to seeing it. Is it worth perhaps every couple of months, somebody else doing an inspection of them? I mean, even if it is the ward members, just to see what else is generally missing.
Yeah, we've actually just come up with a new plan for these inspections, as they were being done same person on a fairly regular basis. They're now going to be rotated on a 4-weekly basis between 4 members of staff. And we've got 3 members going on a course to be able to complete those inspections next month.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Any further points from members of the committee? Councillor Tom?
Can I just answer, comments and questions, pointed by tree planting? It comes up later on in the agenda that the mayor's wish list includes more trees. And he will be doing an inspection around the town looking for possible sites that place the Dorset Council tree people, but they plant some more trees. And personally, I've also been looking around wide possible locations where we could tree into. Yeah, it's in hand already.
Yeah, that's excellent. So that, White is one of the areas of the school. So I recommend you look at the tree equity school, you get a map and you can see what how the school and which ones are in the best need of looking for this place.
Thank you very much. Any other councillors wishing to speak? Do we need to do a vote?
If it's just for noting, Chair, everyone is happy to indicate that they wish to.
Is everyone happy to note that moving forward?
Ecstatic.
Wonderful. Glad to hear it, Louis.
Can't wait.
We've got a couple of lovely evenings out this week, haven't we?
People will be talking.
Right. Item 11, seafront strategy update, leaders next, and this is, thank you, Paul. This is going to be Will Holmes introducing this one, resort manager.
In February 2024, full council approved the seafront strategy for 2024 to 2034, outlining a 10-year vision to enhance the seafront from the pavilion end to Oakcombe. This report provides an update on the progress made towards the 2024 short-term actions, showcasing completed and ongoing actions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Will. Councillor Leary?
Yes,
Okay? Yeah.
yes, thank you. On 4F, the introduction of free to use barbecue sites in the area of the wider resort. I seem to remember something like this was done in Bournemouth. And well, BCP or whatever they call it. And I think they were in use for one day until they had to be sort of jet washed down because people weren't looking after them and they weren't maintained properly. That's the electric ones. Can it be guaranteed that ours won't suffer the same issue? I'm not sure I'd want to really use somebody else's barbecue unless it'd been properly thoroughly, maybe even professionally cleaned. If I wanted a burger, etc.
So with regards to 4F, we did look into those electric barbecues that BCP had, well, currently have. They're very expensive, lots of problems. So it was sort of the more disposable barbecue route we were looking down. And the biggest thing with that is our partners and us as a council don't necessarily stand for that. So 4F is actually saying that us as officers have made the decision that we are not carrying out that action within the seafront strategy. So that's just an update to say we won't be moving forward with that action.
Thank you. Just to say, there's several people in the room here attended the Dorset Coast Forum last week, where at the conference there was much talk about disposable barbecues and the hazard that presented to young people in particular, but also obviously the litter issue as well. So we spoke on the day about that one. Any other councillors wishing to speak about this one? Okay, the recommendation was actually omitted from the agenda, but it should have read. However, the recommendation is for members to note the update regarding the seafront strategy. And councillors just indicate with a nod if they're happy to note this one and move forward. Councillor Tom?
Sorry, in the report on the paragraph regarding, in 2023, the average customer spend for the first date of October was £6.18. The 2024 average customer spend has increased to £6.04. That's a decrease, not an increase.
Yeah, sorry, Councillor Top, that's the service plan update. And in my introduction, this is talking about the seafront strategy. In the service,
Sorry,
that's all right. In the service plan, when I get to it, I'm going to mention that in my introduction.
Soon to be covered.
Yeah,
So everybody else wrong.
yeah.
Is everyone happy to know the seafront strategy update and move forward? Yep, thank you very much. Thank you, Will.
Oh, me again?
No,
Yeah, me again, sorry.
Mistake.
So, this is
Yeah, not
item,
mistake.
item 12. Don't know what's coming up in this one now.
Oh.
Item 12, the 6-month service plan review from Will Holmes again.
So this 6-month update highlights key achievements and adjustments in the resort service plan. It shows progression and includes accident prevention, weekly, daily digital inspections in town centre, improved fuel efficiency, and it is all tracked using a red, amber, green system to clearly show completed, ongoing, and discontinued objectives. Please note there is a minor error within the report regarding the catering average customer spend. It should state that 2024 average spend is lower than 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, any councillors wanting to ask any questions, raise any points regarding the service plan for resorts?
On that very point, can you throw any light on why customer spend was down? Do you think it's because the weather was rubbish or the other reasons behind it?
So we have a huge spreadsheet and it tracks our weekly income for both cafes. And currently not doing as well as we did last year. And it is simply because of the weather. If there is anything that comes out that we can change the weather or then I'll be bringing a report.
Expensive.
Yeah. But yeah, it's simply down to the weather.
Thank you very much. Any other input from councillors? So on this one, again, we are just being asked to note. Is everyone happy to note this one and move forward? Yep, fantastic. Thank you very much, Will. You, as always. Right, item 13. 6-month service plan review, this time for green spaces, and again, it's going to be Paul introduce me this one. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. This report provides councillors with a 6-month update at the halfway point of 2024, covering April to September for the Green Spaces Department regarding delivery of objectives and KPIs set in the Green Spaces Service Plan. The Green Spaces team has been working hard this year to maintain and update the play areas, allotments, cemeteries, parks and gardens to ensure that they are safe and functioning for the community. We've been going through a period of change in the Green Spaces team after a very settled period, and we're working through this and have many changes to the team that are positive going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. Would anyone like to speak to this item? Councillor Top.
Could I just ask if you've appointed an allotments person yet? Like, you said interviews October.
Yeah, we offered that last week, and the candidates accepted will be starting with us week commencing 18th of November.
Thank you.
I would just like to add that thank you for the work the Green Spaces team and the resort team do, because it's some amazing work going on in the background. As you said, with all the turbulence in the staffing, keeping it going with the appointments and field spaces, absolutely outstanding. So thank you very much. Everyone involved. Any other questions about this item? Absolutely.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's just really encouraging as well to see that Bradford Park and Gardens being put forward of going for a green flag award. I think it's doing a lot of this as well, especially after all the hard work that's been.
Don't mention cemeteries.
Yeah, so collection of these awards awards is just evidence of the great. So thank you very much to everyone involved. Are there any other councillors wishing to speak? Will, is that you indicating to speak? Okay, again, I think this is just one that's a note. Are councillors happy to note this one and move forward?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Paul. Well, there's been some build up to this one. Item 14, town centre bollards. We're back with Will. Been changing.
Everyone on their phone.
They support barriers.
The purpose of this report is to evaluate options for managing physical barriers on St Mary Street and St Thomas Street in Weymouth. After the discussion with We Are Weymouth, Weymouth Bid and Dorset Council Highways, the recommendation is to continue the current service where a local business is paid annually to manage the barriers. This option is viewed as the most reliable, cost-effective, considering the high costs of alternatives and the potential risks of removing the barriers entirely. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, if I start, I know from discussions with Will, there's been a lot of work that's gone into this in the background to find out what those options are, what we can proceed with, what we can't proceed with. There's the complication of ownership lies with Dorset Council. And so Will's done sterling work on this to pull a report together, present members with the options. Are there any other councillors wishing to speak about this item? Councillor O'Leary.
Yeah, I never ever thought, and me and you have history on this, I'd be trying to push to keep some bollards.
It's a good reference.
But I think the external contractor one has to be out of the, to completely be out. I mean, £14,000 is a, £10,000 increase. The in-house solution is obviously out of the question due to the reasons given in there. Removal of the bollard by Dorset Council is an interesting one because there has been, although I'd like to see these bollards retained. There has been a lot of talk in the last couple of months about exchange of services between us in regard to green spaces and paying in those regards. Who have we been speaking to at Dorset Council in regard to this? Is it just the Highways Department or is it somebody senior at the Highways Department in terms of the director? This is quite a major issue effectively in the town centre, and the enforcement of this could end up being far worse than if we had got rid of them.
I've been speaking directly with Dawn Heath, and it's also gone to. Is that Matthew? Yeah, it's.
If you're dealing with that, I trust that. She walks in your back. That's fine.
I thought you said that.
Councillor Bow.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to speak to this one before we start coming up with the option? There with.
I think option.
Yeah, the read in the room, wasn't it, is to sort of continue with current service.
Yeah.
Let's put that to recommendation.
It is the officer recommendation.
Yes. So officer recommendation is to move forward with option 4. I'm happy to propose recommendation as written, seconded by.
Sorry, may I just come in? May it be also added that this, obviously, where Dorset trying to offload services I've just briefly mentioned, could we not try and also include this in the future as a bargaining chip in regards to negotiations of transfer services? Because it does say in there we only did this as this thing of goodwill. And transfer under LGR should have really gone to Dorset Council anyway. So we could really use it in future as sort of a bargaining chip with the powers that be potentially Yeah.
Yep, don't think that needs to go in the recommendation.
No, it's fine.
Good.
But
Okay.
it shouldn't go in.
So I've proposed that. Is anyone happy to second? Go with option 4, councillor Joanna Dickinson. No further discussion. All those in favour?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All those against? And any abstentions?
I'm not saying because I'm the bid director.
Very much. So that is passed. Option 4 it is. Thank you very much. And thank you to all the officers that have introduced the various plentiful items this evening. That moves us on to option 15, which is the information items. Any councillor questions regarding information items should be submitted in advance of the meeting. Did we receive any? No, none pre-notified. So members are just asked to note those information items. I do encourage you to read those in detail. There are some important updates about ongoing projects in there. Right, thank you very much, everyone, and thank you to the public in the office as well.
Line 3.